Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
It's great to be back.
Today we're going to be talking about something
That's right.
I know you guys all want to get better at,
Yeah.
and that is achieving your goals.
Right.
And specifically, we're going to be taking a deep dive
Okay.
into this popular YouTube video by Ali Abdaal.
I've seen that one.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called How to Actually Achieve Your Goals in 2025. Evidence-based.
Catchy title.
Yeah, so get ready to unlock all the secrets of effective goal setting backed by real science and real-world examples.
I like it.
All right, so
Yeah.
what'd you think about this video?
Well, I thought it was really fascinating how Abdal kind of blended together the practical advice with scientific research and then even personal anecdotes.
Yeah, and I like how he did that because it really set him apart from all the other motivational speakers out there.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't just about feeling good. It was like, understanding why you're doing this. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so speaking of why, he starts off with this really interesting story about Jim Rohn.
Jim Rohn. Yeah.
And his mentor challenged him.
Oh, really?
To write down his goals and get that simple act transformed his life, including his financial life. What do you think's going on there?
Well, I think it's about, we all have these abstract thoughts kind of floating around in our heads.
Right.
But when you write them down, you give them a concrete form.
Right.
It's almost like making a contract with yourself.
Yeah. It's like you're externalizing it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And there's actually, there was a study.
Oh, really?
By Dominican University.
Okay.
And they found that the people that wrote down their goals were 42% more likely to achieve them.
42%.
That's huge.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Wow. So that makes you think, what could you achieve if you just, wrote it down, If you're working towards a promotion or learning a new skill.
Absolutely.
I mean, that could really boost your
amazing
chances of success.
Yeah, how something so simple can have such a powerful impact.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Now, Abdal takes this a step further by having this whole system of quarterly quests.
I like that.
Yeah. It's basically breaking down your big yearly goals into smaller, more manageable chunks. And he documents everything in a Google Doc.
I see.
What do you think about that system?
I really like that system.
Oh, really?
I think it really resonates with, you know how our brains are?
Yeah.
We really like to see progress.
We like to,
you like to finish things.
Check things off the list.
And by setting these shorter term goals, it gives us more opportunities to feel that.
Yeah, to feel those little wins.
Yeah, those little wins.
Yeah.
And then you can also visually see the progress that you're making.
Yeah.
By having it in a document or whatever.
Totally. Yeah, it's like a visual roadmap.
Yeah.
So you can always see
where you're going.
Where you're going.
How far you've come.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that kind of reminds me of this other concept that he talks about in the video, which is the Reticular Activating System.
Oh, the RES?
Yeah, the RES.
Yeah.
It's
basically
bundle of nerves.
A bundle of nerves.
That acts as your brain's filter.
Right.
So it's deciding what information.
It's deciding what we should be paying attention to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember the example that he used in the video?
Yeah, he used that great example of how after you set a goal to buy a Fiat 500, you suddenly start seeing them everywhere.
Well,
it's
they were always there.
They were always there.
But you weren't paying attention.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's a perfect example of how when you focus on your goals, you're priming your RAS to be on the lookout for anything related to that.
To notice the things you might have otherwise missed.
Exactly. So even if you're not actively thinking about it all the time, your brain's kind of working in the background.
Our brain's doing the work for you.
To try and make those connections.
Connecting the dots.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
He doesn't just set the goal and then just let the RAS do its thing.
No.
He's constantly reinforcing it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he talks about reviewing his goals every week.
All right.
And even taking a few seconds each day.
Okay.
Just to visualize it.
What do you think about that?
I think that's great because what you're doing is you're basically keeping those goals front and center in your mind.
Right.
And so by reviewing them regularly, you're kind of reinforcing those neural pathways and keeping your RAS primed.
Yeah, it's like sending a reminder.
It is.
To your brain. Yeah. Like, hey, this is still important.
Hey, this is still important.
You know?
Yep.
All right, so speaking of reminders,
okay,
let's move on to strategy number 3.
What's that?
Which is tracking your progress.
Oh, okay.
And Abdal's like really big on making progress tangible. Like he even compares it to like
to what?
Leveling up in a video game.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
Yeah.
I like that.
Right. He uses this whole system of like red, yellow, and green indicators in his task management app to kind of like visualize how he's doing. And I think that's really cool because you get that visual feedback.
It gives you a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
And I think that's really motivating to keep going.
Yeah, it makes you feel good, like seeing that progress.
It does.
And it's not just like some motivational gimmick. Like this is actually backed by research. There was this meta-analysis of 138 studies involving almost 20,000 participants.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah. And they confirm that tracking progress is directly linked to achieving goals.
Interesting.
So
it makes sense, though.
Yeah.
You know, it's about making those incremental steps visible and creating that sense of momentum.
Yeah. And it's kind of like if you're like climbing a mountain. Right? Like if you just focus on like the next step in front of you rather than like
the daunting summit,
the huge mountain.
Yeah.
It feels a lot more achievable.
More achievable, right.
Yeah.
And Abdal even tracks things like his word count when he's writing.
Oh, wow.
Because he's like, okay, that's a huge goal to write a book.
Yeah.
But if I just like...
But if you break it down
into these daily targets.
It's just a word count.
It makes it a lot
more manageable.
Easier.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's all about finding like...
a system that works for you.
Yeah, a system that works for you, whether that's like...
whether it's a fancy app.
Or
you
like...
simple sheet.
A simple spreadsheet.
Or just like crossing things off a to-do list.
Yeah.
Or just like writing it down.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as you can see...
You can see your wins.
Those wins.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that brings us to strategy number 4.
Strategy number 4.
And this is something called mental contrasting.
Oh, mental contrasting. What's that?
So this was developed by this psychologist named Gabriele Oettingen.
Gabrielle Oettingen.
Yeah, and it's all about like...
It's a...
preparing for obstacles before they derail you.
I like that.
So essentially, like, you imagine achieving your goal, and then you identify all the potential roadblocks that could get in your way, and you make a plan.
You have a plan.
To overcome each one.
Wow. I like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like saying, okay, I want to run a marathon.
Yeah.
But what if like it rains on race day?
What?
Or what if
I get a cramp?
What if I get a cramp?
Or
what if I like twist my ankle, you know?
Yeah, you got to think about those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you come up with like a solution for every single one.
For all the what ifs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Abdal uses the example of him like writing his book. And he was like, what are the things that could stop me? And he was like, okay, well...
what were they?
What if I get writer's block?
Yeah, that's a big one.
What if
you don't have enough time?
I don't have enough time.
What if you're feeling demotivated?
What if I just don't feel like doing it?
You lose motivation.
And he made like a plan.
Wow.
To tackle each one.
I really like that technique.
Yeah.
Because it combines positive visualization.
Right.
With
realism.
Yeah, a little bit of realism.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking about those challenges. So you're less likely to get thrown off course when they
happen.
Yeah, when they inevitably arise.
Yeah, it's like you're training your brain.
You are.
To see those obstacles as like...
to see them
surmountable.
Challenges, not roadblocks.
Rather than like impossible roadblocks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And speaking of
like these powerful mental shifts.
Yeah.
Let's talk about his final strategy.
All right, what is it?
Which is becoming the achiever. Okay. This is all about like...
about what?
Aligning your goals with your identity.
Oh, that's interesting.
And there was this really fascinating study about voting.
Oh, really?
That I thought really illustrated this perfectly.
Right.
So they asked...
They asked what?
Some people.
Okay.
Will you be a voter?
Will you be a voter?
Okay. And they asked other people, will you vote? And the people... who were asked, will you be a voter, were more likely to actually vote.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
Yeah, and it's because...
And like they're embodying that identity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like when you say, I am a runner.
I'm a runner.
Versus...
I go for runs.
I go for runs.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
It's a difference.
Yeah.
It's subtle, but it's
powerful.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
Right.
And Abdal talks about...
What does he say?
How, like, embracing the YouTuber identity really played a huge role in his, like...
in his success.
Consistency and success.
Yeah.
He even quotes Tony Robbins.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
What does he say?
Who says, the strongest force in human personality is the need to stay consistent with how we define ourselves.
That's deep.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's so true.
It is.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all about, like...
It's about changing your internal narrative so that it aligns with...
the person you want to become.
The person you want to be.
Yeah. Like if you see yourself as an achiever, as someone who sets goals and follows through, then
your actions will follow.
Your actions will follow. Right?
It's like a self-fulfilling
prophecy. Yeah.
So I think that's like a really important takeaway. It is.
From this video is like, we got to be mindful.
Of the stories we tell ourselves.
And really like...
choose identities that empower us.
Yeah.
To be our best selves.
Reach our full potential.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
That's good.
All right, so that wraps up the first part of our deep dive into Ali Abdal's video on how to actually achieve your goals.
Looking forward to the next part.
Me too.
All right.
All right, so we'll be right back after a quick break.
Sounds good. Welcome back to our deep dive.
Yeah.
Into goal setting.
So...
we've learned about all these great strategies from Ali Abdal.
We have.
But I think it's also important to talk about the potential pitfalls.
Yeah, what are those like...
the things that could sabotage our efforts.
Yeah, what are those sneaky traps?
Yeah, sneaky traps.
That can get in the way.
Well, I think one of the biggest ones is just setting too many goals at once.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
It's like...
you get so excited.
You do, and you're like...
I'm going to do all these things this year.
I'm going to change my life. And then you're like...
yeah, but you end up...
overwhelmed.
Yeah, you spread yourself too thin.
Yeah.
And you just kind of burn out.
Yeah, I've totally been there.
Me too.
Yeah.
Abdal actually recommends checking out a summary of Hal Newport's book. Slow Productivity.
Slow Productivity.
Yeah. And Newport says you should focus on fewer goals. But give them your full attention.
That makes a lot of sense.
It does, right?
Yeah.
Like quality over quantity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that kind of leads me to another potential pitfall, I think.
What's that?
Which is neglecting self-care.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, because it's like...
it's so easy to get caught up.
You get so focused
in
achieving your goals that you forget to take care of yourself.
And you forget about
all the other stuff.
The things that actually matter.
That actually matters.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like that saying...
what's that?
You can't pour from an empty cup.
That's so true.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to make sure that you're...
you got to fill up your cup first.
Taking care of yourself.
So you can pour from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Abdal actually addresses this in his book.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. Feel Good Productivity.
Yeah.
He talks about getting things done without burning out.
Okay.
And without sacrificing the things that actually matter.
That's so important.
It is, right.
Yeah.
It's about finding that balance.
Yeah, finding that sweet spot.
Yeah, between striving for excellence, but also taking care of yourself.
Yeah. It's not about like...
pushing yourself to the limit.
Pushing yourself to the limit every single day.
No, it's about sustainable progress.
It's about like running that marathon.
Right.
Right. You're not going
to sprint.
Sprint the whole way.
From day one.
You got to like...
you got to build up your endurance.
Pace yourself.
Fuel your body.
And listen to your body.
Yeah, listen to those signals.
When it needs a break.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for our listeners out there, what are some ways they can like incorporate self-care?
How do you do that?
Into their
goal-setting journey.
Well, I think it's about, scheduling time for those activities that replenish you.
Like what kind of things?
Well, like spending time in nature. Or connecting with loved ones. Or practicing mindfulness. Or even just like taking some time to unwind.
Taking a break.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like making those things...
make them non-negotiable?
Non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Just like you would...
just like a meeting.
An important meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we've talked about overcommitting and neglecting self-care. What other pitfalls...
what other things should we watch out for?
should we be aware of? Well, I think another common mistake is failing to adapt our goals when circumstances change.
Oh, yeah.
Because life is unpredictable.
Life happens.
Life happens.
Right.
Sometimes your priorities change.
Things change.
Things change.
Yeah, and what might have been like...
what you really wanted.
Super important to you.
6 months ago.
6 months ago.
Might not be important anymore.
Yeah, and that's where...
That's where flexibility comes in.
Flexibility comes in, right.
Yeah, you got to be able to adapt.
And that's what I like about Abdal's system of the quarterly goals.
The quarterly quests.
Yeah, the quarterly quests, because it allows for that.
For that flexibility.
Flexibility.
Yeah, it's an ongoing process.
Yeah.
It's not just a one-time thing.
It's iterative.
It is.
Right.
Yeah, it's like using a GPS.
Okay.
You might have to adjust your route.
Okay.
Based on traffic. Road closures.
Okay.
Maybe you found a more scenic path.
Right. You find a better way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. And I think that ties into another important point.
What's that?
That Abdal makes, which is the value of having an accountability partner.
Oh, yeah.
Or like joining a supportive community.
Yeah, because when you share your goals with someone else, it can really help you stay on track.
It's like having a cheerleader.
It is.
In your corner.
It is someone to support you.
Yeah, someone to support you and be like,
yeah, you got this.
You can do it.
Yeah, and I think like...
and being part of a community.
Being part of a community can be...
super inspiring.
Super inspiring, yeah, because you're surrounded by...
like people who are also...
like-minded people.
Yeah, striving for their goals.
Or also like...
and you can working towards something.
Yeah, you can all support each other.
Yeah, and it's like...
it's like running a marathon.
Yeah.
With a team.
With a team of people.
Yeah, you can cheer each other on.
Yeah, you can celebrate those milestones together.
Yeah, it's a reminder that you're not alone.
That you're not alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So we've talked about these pitfalls.
Okay.
But what are some
what are some additional tips?
Additional tips that our listeners can use.
Yeah, what can we do?
To supercharge their goal achieving journey.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think one of the simplest yet most effective techniques is just breaking down large goals.
Into smaller steps.
Into smaller steps.
Yeah. It makes it feel less overwhelming.
It makes it feel less overwhelming. And it also gives you those little
wins.
Wins along the way.
Yeah, the feelings of accomplishment along the way.
It's like that old saying.
What's that?
How do you eat an elephant?
How do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
Right.
Yeah, that applies to goals too.
It applies to goals too.
Instead of focusing on the entire elephant, just focus on that one bite.
Yeah. Just focus on the next step,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. And celebrate those wins.
Celebrate those wins.
Won't forget to celebrate.
Because it keeps you motivated.
It does.
It's like you're rewarding yourself.
Yeah, reward yourself.
For doing a good job.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are some other ways?
What else can we do?
We can keep that motivation.
To keep that motivation going.
Burning bright.
Well, Abdal talks about cultivating a growth mindset.
A growth mindset?
Yeah.
What's that?
So it's basically the belief that our ability can be developed through dedication and hard work.
Okay, so it's like...
it's not fixed.
It's not fixed.
Yeah, we can learn and grow.
We can learn and grow.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like embracing...
embracing challenges.
Challenges as opportunities.
Yeah, as opportunities for learning.
Okay.
Not as threats.
Instead of being afraid of them.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's like that Thomas Edison quote.
What's that?
I haven't failed.
I've just found 10,000 ways.
That don't work.
That don't work.
Yeah, I love that quote.
Yeah.
It's about seeing those setbacks.
As feedback.
As feedback.
Yeah.
As part of the process.
Not as
not as the end of the world.
The end of the world.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think...
and don't forget about...
visualization. Visualization.
Yeah. Abdal suggests.
Yeah.
Incorporating that into your daily routine.
So imagining yourself...
vividly imagine
achieving
your goal.
Those goals.
Yeah, you're already there.
Create a mental movie.
Yeah, a mental movie.
Of your success.
Of your success.
And that's not just
it's not just wishful thinking.
Wishful thinking.
It's about priming your brain.
It's about telling your brain,
yeah,
this is possible.
This is possible.
And I'm going to do it.
I'm going to make it happen.
It's like a
dress rehearsal.
It's a dress rehearsal for success.
Yeah.
You're mentally preparing yourself.
You're getting ready.
You're building that confidence.
Yeah.
And you're increasing your chances of actually achieving it.
of making it happen.
Yeah.
I love that. All right, so welcome back.
It's great to be back.
For the final part of our deep dive into goal setting.
All right.
So we've explored all these like powerful strategies from Ali Abdaal's video.
That's right.
We've navigated some potential pitfalls.
The sneaky traps.
Yeah. We've uncovered some
additional tips for success.
Yeah, some extra tips. So now I think it's time to kind of
bring it all together.
Yeah. And see what
did we learn?
What are the key takeaways?
Yeah, what are the key takeaways?
From this deep dive.
What can we walk away with?
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think?
Well, what really strikes me is that goal setting isn't just about writing a list and hoping for the best.
It's more than that.
It's about understanding the psychology behind motivation, cultivating a growth mindset.
Yeah.
And building systems that actually support you.
Yeah. It's like a whole system.
It's holistic.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, one of the biggest takeaways is that it's a journey.
It is a journey.
Not a destination.
It's about the process.
Yeah. It's about embracing the process.
Yeah.
And learning from those setbacks.
Yeah. Because they're going to happen.
Yeah. And celebrating each win.
Yeah. Celebrate those wins.
Along the way.
For sure.
What about you?
Well, I think resonated with me.
Yeah,
it was the emphasis on identity.
Oh, yeah.
Because the way we see ourselves has a huge impact on our actions and our ability to achieve our goals.
It's like that voting study we talked about, just identifying as a voter.
Just saying I'm a voter.
Made people more likely to actually vote.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So it's a good reminder to be mindful. Of the stories we tell ourselves.
And
to choose identities. That empower us. Yeah.
It's about stepping into that role.
Yes.
And embodying those qualities.
Absolutely.
Of someone who achieves their goals.
Yes. So if you see yourself as an achiever, you're more likely to
achieve those things.
Yeah. So I think a lot of this comes down to mindset.
Yeah. It's important.
Like cultivating that growth mindset.
Yes.
Embracing challenges as opportunities.
That's right.
Remembering that setbacks
are just feedback.
Yeah. And not the end of the world.
Exactly.
And then, of course,
don't forget.
Visualization. Yeah.
Super important.
Creating
that mental picture of success.
And that's it.
That's
our deep dive. Into Ali Abdaal's video on goal setting.
I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Me too.
I hope you learned something.
And are ready to go out there.
That's right.
And crush your goals.
Crush those goals.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you in the next deep dive.
See you next time.